Hi, this is Ed from Exotic Blanks. Welcome to another rendition of the Sunday Night Movies. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're introducing a new pen kit and showing how you can use that pen kit in a couple of different ways to turn pens rather rapidly if you need to. When we were doing shows, this time of the year became rather hectic. There were many times that we were running short on merchandise by now. We had 4 4-day shows right before Thanksgiving, and 2 4-day shows came after Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving was a time that we spent a lot of time and effort making lots of pens. At that time, I made many of the cigar pens, but this might be another alternative. This is a slimline rendition with a longer, lower tube. And so that lower tube will make it look more stylish and slimmer and longer. I think you'll do very well with ladies with this particular pen. I think it will be very comfortable in their hand, and it also has a very nice look. The tubes I'm using here are pre-prepared. They're pre-tubed, and they are a red and a green, what we used to call a flake design. The design, therefore, does not have a match at the center band. When you use these flakes, they are very random, and therefore you can put one with another, one red with another red, or you could put a red with a green. I have both green and red available, and they make a really nice looking pen. At the end you'll see some finished pens that I made with these different. But the big advantage here is, first of all, speed. It takes no time at all because you have them already tubed. They have 7mm tubes in them. They're already trimmed to the right length. All you have to do is put it on the lathe and turn the pen. There's no real technique involved. It's not difficult at all. Those of you who have followed these videos realize that most of the time I will use a skew to do turning. One of the things that I decided to do here was go back to the old roughing gouge, which is what I turned with before I came to the IAP. It's not a difficult turn at all, and if you're uncomfortable with the skew, you can use any tool your heart desires. This is one way to get it done. As you can see, this is nearly to the shape of a pen now. It has been 3 minutes that I have been turning. So it certainly does give you an opportunity to put pens on the table in relatively short order. In the 3 minutes that I've been talking about this, the pen is almost complete. You can see that at this point I need to do some sanding and so forth, but it is almost a completed pen. A couple of the things that we should mention here: this is an acrylic acetate, one of the most forgiving kinds of plastic that you can work with. You really don't have to have much turning skill in order to be able to make pens out of this material. It lends itself to any kind of a shape that you want to give it. As you can see, I'm starting to sand here now, and when I put a 400 grit on there, you can see that I don't get the kind of results with a roughing gouge that I get with a skew. You can see ups and downs, and if you know what you're looking at, the white section tells you that that part is flat. So I decided to take a couple of passes with the skew and clean that up a little bit so it doesn't take so long to sand. Now, if you don't want to do that, if it's not something that you're comfortable with, you can just take sandpaper and play with it for a period of time, and it will come down and it will be sanded properly. So this isn't a vital step. It's just that I know I can do it, and I don't really want to spend the time sanding when I could spend doing other things. So this is the first step. I do sand, and then after I sand it to a 600, I take it to the buffer and buff it. So that's really the steps that it takes to get this into a pen. The whole process took me a little over 6 minutes, so if those of you who are trying to figure out how many pens could I make and could I get enough for the next show and so forth, you can whip them out pretty good if you want to. From here I'm going to go into the assembly of the pen. because the rest of this is somewhat boring and really doesn't accomplish anything. So let's talk about assembly. Assembly of the new pen is fairly simple. Actually, it's very simple. If you've done a slimline, you know how to do it. One is longer than the other. One tube is longer than the other. The longer tube is the lowered tube. So I take that and put on the nib, and I have a hole in my Corian that's underneath the arbor press, and that's how I hold the nib. The nib is in that hole, and then as I push down with the arbor press, it will go in straight, and you don't have to worry about cracking your blanks. Once I've done that, then the next step is to put in the transmission. Again, I have a little helper here. I take off the Corian piece and put it on the block because my arbor press does not have a long enough throw to be able to accommodate the full pen. So after I've got it started in there so that I know it's going straight, then I take this piece of drilled out doweling, which will give me exactly the right height for that pen. So it's pushing the transmission in just far enough so that it will accommodate the refill. So we take this and unscrew it so you can see how there's a little piece of plastic, white plastic there. Make sure when you're doing your assembly that that piece of white plastic is out of the way. In other words, you have to have it in the fully extended position so that the piece of plastic is inside, protected by the metal. Then you can see that it goes in fine, and I have a fine assembly there. Now I'm putting in the center band. The center band on this is a new center band. It's a little double ring, very small, petite. I think that will once again appeal to women. So now it's just a matter of finding the cap top and the clip and putting that into the top of the pen. And again, I put my Corian piece back on there and push that down. Try to get my arm out of the way of the camera. And you can see that that is all there is to completing this pen. It takes less than 2 minutes if you're slow. And when you're finished, you have a very nice looking, elegant slimline with additional length on the bottom tube. I think it's going to be a real winner. Thanks for watching. This is Ed with Exotic Blanks. Feel free to give us a call if you have any questions. Bye now.